Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajanarandana. Yashodanandana Brajanarandana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajanarandana. Yashodanandana Brajanarandana. Jamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Giridhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari. Kisoranandana Brajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Nitya-lila Vishnu Mishtapada His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Guri Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Sadgoswami Prabhu Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki Brajabhumi Vrindavan Dham Ki Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai Sri Sri Krishna Baldao Ki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled body. All glories to the assembled body. All glories to the assembled body. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. This is nice. In Vrindavan also, one day a week we do Chaitanya Charitamrita. So nectarine. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're starting chapter number 13 in Adi-lila, the advent of Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So we're through with all the big long lists of names, huh? Now we get down to the Lila. So there's an introduction here. This 13th chapter of Sri Chaitanya Caritamrita describes Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. The entire Adi-lila section describes Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu's household life, and similarly the Antya-lila describes his life in sannyas order. Within the Antya-lila, the first 6 years of sannyas life are called Madhya-lila. During this time, Caitanya Mahaprabhu toured South India and went to Vrindavan, returned from Vrindavan, and preached the Sankirtan movement. A learned Brahmin named Upendra Mishra, who resided in the district of Srihat, was the father of Jagannath Mishra, who came to Navadvip to study under the direction of Nilambara Chakravarti, and then settled there after marrying Nilambara Chakravarti's daughter, Sachi Devi. Sri Sachi Devi gave birth to 8 children, all daughters, who died one after another immediately after birth. After her 9th pregnancy, she gave birth to a son who was named Biswarup. Then, in 1407 Shaka era, on the full moon evening of the month of Falgun, during the constellation of Simalagna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared as the son of Sri Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra. After hearing of the birth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, learned scholars and brahmanas, bringing many gifts, came to see the newly born baby. Nilambara Chakravarti, who was a great astrologer, immediately prepared a horoscope, and by astrological calculation, he saw that the child was a great personality. This chapter describes the symptoms of this great personality. So one time, we did a little tour of Bangladesh. We went to this in Srihat, but this town is called, what do they call it? Well, it's near Sylhet, but it's they call it Dakin Dhaka, or Dhaka Dakin, I can't remember which one of those. And there's the house of Upendra Mishra. Actually, Madhavananda, he's traced it out, that Upendra Mishra, he originally came from Orissa, because Orissa is more common name of Brahmins in Orissa than in Bengal. Though now Bengal, so many Mishras have propagated there. So we went to that place, and there they claim that this is the actual place where Lord Chaitanya took his avatar. Because they claim that when Jagannath Mishra moved to Nadia, that Sachi Devi was already pregnant. So that means that Lord Chaitanya already descended. So of course, even nowadays, to travel, Prabhupada especially recommended that ladies who are pregnant don't travel. And I can't imagine, 500 years ago, there was no jet airways, there was no none of these nice things. So I can't imagine traveling with a pregnant woman. So anyway, that's what they claim. Of course, everybody claims their place is very special, but we know that Navadvip is the most special place. So, and maybe now we'll read about this. Because here it says he came to Navadvip, then he married Sachi Devi. So everybody's got their story. So text number 1. Sa Prasidato Caitanya Devo Yasya Prasadata Tal Lila Varnane Yogya Sadya Syad Adharmopi Ayam Sa Prasidatu Caitanya Devo Yasya Prasadata Talila Varnane Yogya Sadya Syad Ardhamopiyam Anupyayam. Chaitanya Charitamrita is so sweet. Huh? Actually, even in mundane point of view, they can. People have to study this Chaitanya Charitamrita, and if you study Bengali literature, you have to study Chaitanya Charitamrita because it's written in very, very special ways, very, very sweet, and very, very succinct. Just like we read that true eloquence is saying, I can't remember exactly, but say the absolute truth revealed, succinctly. So, but somehow or other, Krishnadas Kaviraj, this is special in Bengali literature because it's so sweet and so simple, but at the same time, all the deep truths of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy are revealed in these simple slokas. Now, generally, if you want to make something sweet, then it becomes very flowery and so many words. And if you want to make some philosophical point, then you use these big, big words and everybody goes to sleep. But somehow Krishnadas Kaviraj, just like this Chaitanya Bhagavat, is filled with so many flowery words. But this is so sweet, at the same time so simple, at the same time the deep philosophy of Mahaprabhu is revealed. It's special in Bengali literature. Because this particular verse is actually Sanskrit. This is the Mangalacharan of the chapter. Sa he Rasidatu may bestow his blessings. Chaitanya Devaha, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Yasya, of whom Prasadataha, by the grace, Tat-lila, his pastimes, Varnane, in the description, Yogyaha, able, Sadhyaha, immediately, Syat, becomes possible, Adharmaha, the most fallen, Api, although I am. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the pastimes of the Lord. Translation, please repeat. I wish the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose mercy even one who is fallen can describe the glories, pastimes of the Lord. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To describe Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Lord Sri Krishna, one needs supernatural power, which is the grace and mercy of the Lord. Without His grace and mercy, one cannot compose transcendental literature. By dint of the grace of the Lord, however, even one who is unfit for a literary career can describe wonderful transcendental topics. Description of Krishna is possible for one who is empowered. Krishna Shakti Bina Nahi Tara Pravartana. Adi-lila, chapter 7, verse 11. Unless endowed with the mercy of the Lord, one cannot preach the Lord's name, fame, quality, form, entourage, and so forth. It should be concluded, therefore, that the description of Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami manifests specific mercy bestowed upon the author, although he thought of himself as the most fallen. We should not consider him fallen, because he describes himself as such. Rather, anyone who is able to compose such transcendental literature is our esteemed master. Actually, the translation says even one, but if you see the Sanskrit, it says even one like me, who is very fallen, can describe the pastimes of the Lord. This is a symptom of pure devotee of the Lord. he always considered himself the most fallen. Because in this world, everyone is trying to become the topmost man amongst all his fellow men. They're all trying to climb to the top. But only one person can be in the top. But they don't realize the spiritual master is on the bottom, and everybody can be with him on the bottom. We're all fighting to get to that topmost position amongst our fellow men. But the spiritual master, he's on the bottom. Just like one time in France, I believe it was, they challenged Prabhupada. That Prabhupada described the four orders of Varnashram system. And so some student challenged, so you must be the topmost. You must be the first class man. And everybody froze, The student challenged like this, And Prabhupada said, no, I am fifth class because I am servant of the other four classes. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj, he's also describing himself as very fallen. But Prabhupada explains, it's not possible. Krishna Shakti Bina Nahi Pravartan. There cannot be, without Krishna Shakti, without the special mercy of Krishna, he couldn't have possibly written this Caitanya Caritamrita. As I explained, even from mundane point of view, it's unique literature in Bengali literature. It's very unique. And so sweet. Everything about it is so sweet. Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Jaya Nityananda. All glories to Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All glories to Advaita Chandra. All glories to Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Jaya Jaya Gadadhar, Jaya Srinivasa, Jaya Mukunda Vasudeva, Jaya Haridasa. All glories to Gadadhar Prabhu. All glories to Srinivasa Acharya Prabhu. All glories to Mukunda Prabhu and Vasudeva Prabhu. All glories to Haridas Thakur. Jaya Damodar Swarupa, Jaya Murari Gupta, Esaba Chandro Dadaye, Toma Kaila Lupta. All glories to Swarup Damodar and Murari Gupta. All these brilliant moons have together dissipated the darkness of this material world. Jaya Sri Chaitanya Chandra Bhakta Chandra Gana, Sabara Prema Jotnasnaya, Ujvala Tribhuvana. All glories to the moons who are the devotees of the principal moon, Lord Chaitanya Chandra. Their bright moonshine illuminates the entire universe. Just like last night we saw the moonrise. Although there were so many clouds, somehow they cleared up just a bit to see this beautiful moonrise. Almost completely full. Today it's totally full. Purport. In this verse, we find the moon described as Chaitanya Gana, which is plural in number. This indicates that there are many moons. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Nakshatranam aham shashi. Among the stars, I am the moon. All the stars are like the moon. Western astronomers consider the stars to be suns, but Vedic astronomers, following Vedic scriptures, consider them moons. The sun has ability to shine powerfully, and the moons reflect the sunshine and therefore look brilliant. In Caitanya Caritamrita, Krishna is described to be like the sun. The Supreme Powerful is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, or Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his devotees are also bright and illuminating because they reflect the Supreme Sun. The Caitanya Caritamrita states, Krishna Surya Nama Maya Haya Andakara Yahan Krishna Tahan Nehi Maya Adhikara. Krishna is bright like the sun, and as soon as the sun appears, there is no question of darkness or nescience. Adi-lila, chapter 22, verse 31. Similarly, this verse also describes by the illumination of all the moons, brightened by the reflection of the Krishna sun, or by the grace of all the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the entire world will be illuminated. Despite the darkness of Kali Yuga, only the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can dissipate the darkness of Kali Yuga, the ignorance of the population of this age. No one else can do so. We therefore wish that all the devotees of the Krishna conscious movement may reflect the Supreme Sun and thus dissipate the darkness of the entire world. Just like, who is it wrote that Many Moons? Giriraj Maharaj. Both beautiful book. How all the devotees are just like moons. Like in the night, it's very dark. My poor friend Arjun, he was frightened. It's so dark because he lived in Calcutta. There's always lights. It's so frightening here. It's dark. But luckily, last night the moon rose to dissipate, because Krishna says, among the stars, I am the moon. Just like we see at night, there's so many stars in the sky, but still it's dark. But as soon as the moon rises, we begin to see it, almost everything. We begin to see our way again. Just like sometimes I used to stay at Brindakun, and I saw during the hot season, it gets to 45, sometimes 50 degrees. So nobody can do anything in the day. But as soon as Purnima came, I used to dread when Purnima would come. As soon as Purnima would come, then all the farmers would jump on their tractors and all night long, it's too hot to do it in the day, so they would do it under the light of the moon. We hear it described as the devotees of Lord Chaitanya. They're also like moons, reflecting the light. And it's interesting to hear Prabhupada say, the light of Sri Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just like one time when I was to receive my Brahmin initiation. And that time, Prabhupada had been in India for a long time, because there was just one preaching opportunity after another. He went here, he went there, then another invitation was there, then another invitation. And he kept saying, I was, don't send the bees, don't waste the postage to send the bees. And just see how we fly around the world like money was water. But even Prabhupada was worried about the postage. I'm coming, but he just didn't come, So there was some devotees who'd been way more than 6 months, had been chanting 16 rounds, and they still hadn't gotten first initiation. So there was some discussion whether they should get both. And Prabhupada said, let me take their interview. So devotees came, and first question, Prabhupada said, who's Krishna? And devotee said, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, you can take Brahman initiation. And the second devotee, who is Lord Chaitanya? He's the most beautiful avatar of Krishna. No, he's Krishna himself. You can take second initiation. I don't know the other questions, I just remember those two. He's Krishna himself. So Prabhupada makes this point here, Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's non-different. Brajenda Nandana se, Jay, Sachi Sutta Hoilo se. That same Brajenda Nandan Sham Sundar, and now he's appeared as the son of Sachi Sutta. So, and we saw practically, we were just on our way here, we stopped through Thailand. And we went to Pattaya, where there's this incredible temple it wasn't even, I thought it was built by some king, but it's a private property with some very rich insurance magnate. He just built this incredible temple carved out of wood, everything entirely out of wood, with no nails or only little wooden pegs he used to put all the pieces together. And just one whole hall is just devoted to very elaborately carved Krishna Lila. Everything, every square inch is carved. And I couldn't believe it. They told me it took him 30 years to do it, but I couldn't believe it. Maybe it was 40. Was it 30 or 40? 40 years. And he's a very good friend of the devotees, so he invited us there. He had some he wanted all the religions to come together and do their thing. So first the Buddhists came, and I don't know what they did. It was all totally boring. Then the Christians came, and they got out a guitar, and two girls were singing with the guitar off tune from the singer. Then we had to divide, Hinduism between the Shivites and us, So I don't remember what the Shivites did, but anyway, finally we got up there with all our ladies in beautiful colored saris and gopi dats, and I don't know if you know Patri Prabhu. He came from Nepal, because lots of Nepalis in Thailand. So he came, he led this ecstatic kirtan, and other people just started getting up and dancing with us. And then the Sikhs, they did, it was nice, it was some bhajan, but it was just, So here Prabhupada says only the devotees of the Lord would be able to dissipate. And the whole room just became bright as soon as we were chanting and jumping up and down, and the girls were twirling, with their saris flowing around, and it was so beautiful. It was obvious that Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan is the salvation for everybody in this dark age of Kali. So here we see, this is where Prabhupada got his banner for back to Godhead. Krishna Surya Nama, Maya Haya Andakara, Yahan Krishna, Nahi, Tahan Nahi, Maya Adhikara. We know where there's the sun, there can be no darkness. So where there's Krishna, there can be no ignorance. This is something, I can't remember exactly the words, but that's the banner. But it comes from Madhya 22:31. Eta kahila granta rambe mukta banda ebe kahi Caitanya lila krama anubanda. Thus I have spoken the preface of Caitanya Caritamrita. Now I shall give a synopsis of the entire book in the form of codes. Pratameta sutra rupe kariye ganana pache taha bistari kariba vivarna. Let me state the pastimes of the Lord in codes, then I shall describe them in detail. So first he's going to give a synopsis of all of Mahaprabhu's Leela, and then he'll get into the details of each one. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Navadvipe Avatari Ata Chalisa Batsara Prakaja Bihari. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, adventing himself in Navadvip, was visible for 48 years, enjoying his pastimes. Choda Satta Satta Sake Janmera Pramana Choda Satta Panchane Haila Antardana. In the year 1407 of the Sakha era, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. In the year 1455, Sakha era, he disappeared from this world. Chabisas Vatsara Prabhu Kaila Grihabasa Nirantara Kaila Krishna Kirtan Bilasa. For 24 years, Lord Chaitanya lived in the Grihast Ashram, household life, always engaging in the pastimes of the Hare Krishna movement. Chabisa Vatsara Seshe Kariya Sanyasa Ara Chabisa Vatsara Kaila Nila Chalevasa. It's so sweet. I'm sure Arjuna is cringing at my Bengali, but anyway, it's still sweet, even my broken Bengali. After 24 years, he accepted the renounced order of life, sannyas. He resided for 24 years more at Jagannath Puri. Taramadye Chayavatsara Gamana Gamana Kabu Dakshina Kabu Gauda Kabu Brindavana. Of these last 24 years, he spent the first 6 years continuously touring India, sometimes in South India, sometimes in Bengal, and sometimes in Vrindavan. Astadesha Vatsara Rahila Nila Chale Krishna Prema Nama Mrite Basha Tala Sakale. For the remaining 18 years, he continuously stayed at Jagannath Puri, chanting the nectarine Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He inundated everyone there in a flood of love of God. Garhaste Prabhura Lila Adi-lila Kyana Madhya Anta Lila Shesha Lila Raduinama. The pastimes of his household life are known as Adi-lila, or the original pastimes. His later pastimes are known as Madhya-lila and Antya-lila, or the middle and final pastimes. Adi-lila Madhye Prabhura Yateka Charitra Sutra Rupe Murari Gupta Karila Grahita. All the pastimes enacted by Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu in his Adi-lila were recorded in the form of the codes of Murari Gupta. Prabhura ye Shesha Lila Swarupa Damodara Sutrakare Grantilena Grantera Bitana. His later pastimes, Madhya-lila and Antya-lila, were recorded by his secretary, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and thus kept within a book. Edui Janera Sutra Dekiya Suniya Varnana Karena Vaishnav Krama Ke Kariya. By seeing and hearing the notes recorded by these two great personalities, a Vaishnav, a devotee of the Lord, can know the pastimes one after another. Balya Poganda Kaishorya Yovana Charibeda Ataeva Adikande Lila Charibeda. In his original pastimes, there are 4 divisions: Balya, Poganda, Kaishor, and Yovana. Childhood, early boyhood, later boyhood, and youth. Sarva Sadguna Purnam Tam Bande Palguna Purnimam Yasya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Avatira Krishna Namabhi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the full moon evening of the month of Falgun, an auspicious time full of auspicious symptoms, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advented himself with the chanting of the holy name. On the full moon evening, Falguna Purnima Sandhyaya Prabhura Janmodaya Se Kale Daiva Yogi Chandra Grahanahaya. On the full moon evening of Falgun, when the Lord took birth, coincidentally, there was also a lunar eclipse. This is very interesting because usually we consider eclipses very, very inauspicious. But there's a hint here, because everybody, since it's so auspicious, everybody goes in inauspicious, everybody bathes in the Ganga, and they chant Hari Hari, Hari Bol, Hari Krishna. So when the whole world was roaring with the holy name, then Lord Chaitanya appeared, just to indicate his future mission of spreading the chanting of the holy name. And later it's described that the actual reason why there was Chandragrahan that night, because another name for Lord Chaitanya, we just heard Chaitanya Chandra, Gaura Chandra. Chandra we know means moon. So that ordinary Chandra, full of spots, he was thinking, what is the use of this ordinary Chandra when this Gaura Chandra is appearing? This beautiful golden moon of Lord Chaitanya is appearing. Out of shame, he hid his face. Later somewhere there's a verse that says, Sakalanka, Akalanka Gaura Chandra Dila Darasana, Sakalanka Chandra Ki Prayojana. That Akalanka, Kalank means spots. And we know we put A in the front of anything, it becomes, it's like Sura, Asura. So Akalanka, that spotless moon of Gaura Chandra is appearing. Akalanka Gaura Chandra Dila Darashana, he gave darshan. Sakalank, sa means with. Sakalank, that spotted moon, what is the use of that spotted moon? So Prabhupada explained this in one lecture, that actually the reason there was moon eclipse on that night, it was the full moon the ordinary moon was embarrassed by the appearance of the beautiful Gaura Chandra, the golden moon of Lord Chaitanya. Hari Hari Bali Loka Hari Sita Hanya Janmila Chaitanya Prabhu Nama Janmaya. In jubilation, everyone was chanting the holy name. Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari, Hari Hari. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then appeared, after first causing the appearance of the holy name. Janma Balya Poganda Kaishora Yuve Kale Harinama Layoliya Prabhu Nana Chale. At his birth, in his childhood, in his early and later boyhood, as well as in his youth, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, under different pleas, induced people to chant the holy name of Hari, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Balya Bhava Chale Prabhu Karena Grandana Krishna Hari Nama Suni Rahiye Rodana. In his childhood, when the Lord was crying, he would stop immediately upon hearing the holy names of Krishna and Hari. Ateva Hari Hari Bali Nari Gana Dekite Aisayeva Sarva Bandhajana. All the friendly ladies who came to see the child would chant the holy names, Hari Hari, as soon as the child would cry. So everybody, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preaching from his babyhood. Because he would cry. Nothing special, all babies cry. But when Lord Chaitanya would cry, nothing could stop him from crying, except when they would chant, Haribo, Hare Krishna, Hari Hari. Then he would smile. So Prabhupada explains that the neighboring girls, seeing this, they would come and they would pinch Lord Chaitanya. They'd pinch little Nimai, and he would cry. Then they go, Haribo, Haribo, and then he would laugh again. And then again they would pinch him and he would cry, Haribo, Haribo. In this way, in Sachi Devi's house, this Haribo, Haribo was sounding throughout the day and night. So even in his babyhood, he was preaching the chanting of holy names. Amazing. Gaura Hari Bali Tari Hase Sarvanari Ateva Haila Tanra Nama Gaura Hari. When all the ladies saw this fun, they enjoyed laughing and called the Lord Gaura Hari. Since then, Gaura Hari became another of his names. Balyavaya Sayavat Hate Kare Dila Pogandavaya Sayavat Vivaha Nakaila. His childhood lasted until the date of Hate Kadi. the beginning of his education, and his age from the end of his childhood until he married is called Poganda. Vivaha karile haila navina yovana sarvatra layala prabhu nama sankirtana. After his marriage, his youth began, and in his youth he induced everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra anywhere and everywhere. So, as Krishnadas was saying, throughout all the stages of his life, he was inducing people to chant the holy name. Poganda vayase padena padana sisyagane sarvatra karena Krishna namera vyakyane. During his Poganda age, he became a serious student and also taught disciples. In this way, he used to explain the holy name of Krishna everywhere. Sutravritri Panji Tika Krishnete Tatparya Shishira Pratitahaya Prabhava Ascharya. When teaching a course in grammar, Vyakaran, and explaining it with notes, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu taught his disciples about the glories of Lord Krishna. All explanations culminated in Krishna, and the disciples would understand them very easily. Thus his influence was wonderful. He would teach grammar, Vyakaran, but everything was connected with Krishna. Just like we see all Sanskrit words, they end with some vowels. So if you want to make it stop, I can't think of an example right now, but it stops without the vowel, just like vak. Then you have to put a little danda. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught that one with the danda, he's independent. He doesn't have that vowel sound after him to support him. So he's got the club. He's the Lord. All this way he explained all the. In fact, Jiva Goswami has written this Harinamamrita Vyakaran, explaining everything in relation to Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami compiled a grammar in 2 parts named Lagu Harinamamrita Vyakaran and Brihadari Namamrita Vyakaran. If somebody studies these 2 texts in Vyakaran of grammar, he learns the grammatical rules of Sanskrit and simultaneously learns how to become a great devotee of Lord Krishna. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, 1st chapter, there is a statement about the method by which Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu taught grammar. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the codes of grammar to be eternal, like the holy name of Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Vaidashchaham Savairaham Vedya, the purport of all revealed scriptures is understanding of Krishna. Therefore, if a person explains anything that is not Krishna, he simply wastes his time laboring hard without fulfilling the aim of his life. If one simply becomes a teacher or professor of education but does not understand Krishna, it is to be understood that he is among the lowest of mankind, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Naradama Maya Prita Jnana. If one does not know the essence of all revealed scriptures but still becomes a teacher, his teaching is like this disturbing braying of ass. Prabhupada always used this. This example, the ass is always braying, We hear all these examples in the scriptures and in Prabhupada's books. But actually, if you come to Vrindavan, then you can see all these things right before you. You can see the donkey going on. He thinks he's singing very beautifully. So without explaining Krishna, all our talking is just the braying of the ass. And we hear about the donkeys carrying heavy loads. And you come to Vrindavan, you can see it before your eyes, it completely loaded up like this with bricks or sand, or sometimes really heavy with laundry, And at the end of the day, they're given a little grass. The whole day long, all along the side of the path, there's grass. But the donkey is so ignorant, he's so foolish, he's thinking that if I don't work hard, how will I eat? But every day he's walking along the path, on both sides is grass. But he's thinking, unless I work hard, how will I get grass? That his master gives you a little grass. So you can come to Vrindavan and you can see this. And actually, he's so foolish that in the hot season, when everybody else is suffering, the ass becomes very happy. Because he eats a little bit of grass here, because there's hardly any grass anywhere. So he eats some here, he moves to the next patch, he moves to the next little tiny patch, little tiny patch here, little tiny patch here. He walks for kilometers. Then he looks around and he looks, wow, I walked so far. I must have eaten so much. And he becomes very happy. And we see happy people, just like my good friend Sarvabhauma, they become fatty. Then during the rainy season, when grass is everywhere, he eats a little bit of grass, and he eats and eats and eats and eats and eats, and he looks back, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't eat anything today. And he gets worried, and we see worried people become very skinny. So he's called Vaisak Nandan. He becomes happy in the Vaisak is that month, a couple of months after Gaur Purnima, when it's really hot in Braj. Of course, I guess Vaisak is different for you, but anyway. In Braj, it's very hot, So only the ass becomes happy. And in the rainy season, when there's grass everywhere, he becomes unhappy and skinny. So you can come to Braj, you can see all these things that you hear about, Braj is so wonderful place. Okay, time is up. All right. So we're talking about Falgun Purnima. Today is, actually, in Hindi, it's called Post Purnima. Therefore it's called, it's known as Posha Abhishek. Now we used to think in the old days that this was a misspelling. It was Puspa Abhishek. So we would do flower. Actually, this month in Hindi is called Post. Now, tomorrow starts Magh. In Braj, that means very cold. We read this morning that it was 4 degrees in Braj this morning. Post also comes from the word postik, which means nourishment. So I've read actually, that Posha Abhishek means they bathe the deities with ghee, which is very postic, very nourishing, despite whatever our vegan friends have to say about it. But anyway, in fact, I read an article that now even the Western science is backtracking. The ghee is, they've always been telling you that you're going to become fat and it's bad for you, and now they're realizing the ghee is a very postic, it's very nutritional, it's very wonderful. They're backtracking because they're always changing their theories. So they bathe the deities with ghee. It's very postic. So this is Post Purnima. And this whole month is known as Posh. And in this month, every Thursday, there's a big Kitri Mela in Behelvan. Just across when you're at Keshigarh, just across the river, and you can look way upstream, you see these big tall trees. That's Behelvan. And there you'll find the Lakshmi temple. It used to be just like a little shop, there was a whole bunch of little, like you see, sometimes across, sometimes you see little shops like this, it's a little tiny place. But then somebody made a nice temple of Lakshmi. Then the government came along and they made this beautiful temple, and they expanded the wall around it, made a huge place. Because Lakshmi is sitting there trying to perform penances and austerities to be able to enter Braj. Because you can't enter Braj unless you become a follower of the cowherd damsels of Braj. is to become follower of Vrishbhasi. That's how we're able to go to Braj. We're followers of the most dear Vrishbhasi, because Krishna, by his own mouth, he told there'd never be one more dear to me than that person who spreads the holy name, my teachings amongst everyone. He's most dear, never will there be one more dear. So we have the most dear Vrishbhasi that we're following. Therefore, somehow we're able to visit this holy Dham of Vrindavan. Anyway, Lakshmi ji, because she has this abhiman, this pride that she's the wife of Vaikuntapati, Lord Narayan, and we can't imagine, a cowherd girl means she's making cow patties and milking cows. Lakshmi ji never touched a cow or a cow dung. So she's there meditating. So somehow one Thursday in Posh, and nobody knows which Thursday, because there's 4, sometimes there's 5 Thursdays. Krishna came to give his mercy to Lakshmi Devi. So you go there, you see the big temple, Lakshmi Devi, she's sitting. Sometimes you get the pujari to lift the cloth. She's got 2 hands like this and 2 hands like this, She's meditating. And Krishna came, thought, oh, this big Lakshmi. So he came as a little boy. He sat down to Lakshmi, and she's meditating. So she was ignoring him. So he began to cry. So Lakshmi Devi, a woman can't tolerate a child crying, so even Lakshmi showed she couldn't tolerate that this child is crying. But 5,000 years ago, this was completely, even now, there's hardly any village. There's a tiny little village you go through to get there. So we can't speak 5,000 years ago. Somehow she got some rice, somehow she got some dal, and she made kitri. And she fed the Lord some kitri. So nobody knows which Thursday of Post. So every Thursday they have a kitri mela. All these big businessmen come and they dig these big holes in the ground and throw logs inside, and they have these big monster walks. And they make not only hot kitri, but it's spicy hot. And they're distributing to everyone, and all the Vrishbhasis come and give their association to Lakshmi ji. So now today is the last day of Post, so the last Thursday was the last day of the Kitri Mela in Belvan. Huh? Oh yeah, we have our 2 books, Braj-lila Part 1 and Part 2. If anyone wants to take a copy, this tells, including that Leela of Lakshmi ji, it tells all the whole. We follow the Prikrama Marg that Lokanath Swami follows with his Brajmandal Prikrama and tell all the pastimes. So Part 1 is a little small, and it's $15, and this one is a little big, Braj 2. So that's $20, or 2 if you buy the whole set, $30. And I'm here to sign it. But it's not formal writing. But it's the way I talk, that's the way the book is. So after class, you can come outside and we'll sit on the bench here, and you can take a copy if you want. Anyway, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. And I guess tomorrow's Sunday, right? We get to do Prikrama in New Govardhan. We do Govardhan Prikrama. Starting when? I don't know. 4 o'clock. Oh, when the sun goes down a little bit. Hare Krishna. HG Deena Bandhu Prabhu ki. Hare.